All right. Hey, everybody. It's Amy Ostveen, also known as Amy O, coming live with you from Life Redesigned, where we grow through what we go through. Today, I want to talk to you about three things I wish I would have done in my business a long time ago. Those of you that don't know me, my name is Amy O, and I have recently rebranded under the umbrella of Life Redesigned. And one thing under that umbrella is my women's only pole fitness studio here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I have two locations here, and most people, like to think, oh, it's a pole studio. Well, what can really be done business-wise in a pole studio? Trust me, a lot. So I've been able to, I started my business in 2013 and grew to multiple six figures, lost everything in COVID, and then have grown it back to be ahead of and do more in sales this year than what we did pre-COVID. So I'm really excited to share with you these things today. I think a little bit of, being in business, you're always learning lessons, but man, if I just could have had these three things, I think it would have, like, who knows where it would have gotten me, and who knows where I would be now. So I'm super excited to share these with you. Why am I sharing them with you? Lessons are to be learned in life. They cannot be avoided. Suffering cannot be avoided. So there are things that happen that we can wish that they didn't happen, but that also doesn't get us anywhere. So I don't stand here to share these with you to wish that they didn't happen. I'm actually grateful that they happened because of where I am today and what I have learned. But what I also can tell you is that these lessons have cost me a lot emotionally. They also cost me a lot financially. More importantly than those two things, they cost me relationships. So let's dive in and let's take a look at the number one thing I would have done in my business a long time ago. We're about to hit 10 years. So I feel like now that I'm 10 years old, my business is 10 years old, I can say a long time ago. So here we go. Number one, you don't have to please everyone. So like I was saying earlier, I own a women's fitness studio, and gosh, starting out, I started out with an idea. I had no idea where it was going to take me. And I thought I just always needed to make sure that everyone liked me. And I thought that was going to be my key to being successful. Newsflash, that is not true. And I can tell you it's not true because I'm living proof that it's not true. By doing this and by creating space to and that effort and that energy and trying with that energy to really please everybody, we're stepping away from who we actually are and the why behind what we're doing. And those of you that are running a business, you know by now that your why is the most important thing. It's going to get you up every single day, and that is the one thing that we cannot veer from and that we do not want to sway away from. So anything that takes us away from that is like what I like to call the danger zone. This is one of them, trying to please everyone. I spent countless hours trying to spin certain rules, or, talk about something this way, or maybe beat around the bush this way and be a chameleon this way. And really, in the end, what happened is there were other negative things and other negative energy that came about for me trying to please everybody and trying to make that happen. So just for example, if you own a hair salon and you don't offer perms, I don't know, are people like even getting perms anymore? I don't know if that's a thing. I remember when I was younger and I was just dying. I actually tried to get a perm one time. My hair is pinned straight. Perm didn't last. Anywho, let's carry on. Let's say you own a hair salon, you don't offer perms, but you ran into three people and they're like, oh, you should offer perms. And so you're like, okay, you know what? These three people would actually come to my salon, but the perm equipment, it takes up a lot of room. The perms take really, really long time. I have no idea if that's true, but let's just pretend for a second. They take a long time, and the product that you need for them, you actually don't make a lot of money. And it's taking away from the people who, from the kids' haircuts that you can do that don't cost you a lot and you make a lot of profit on, from maybe the rest of the barbershop that you're at, from maybe a hair updo for a wedding, whatever it might be. So it's costing you more. And now when the ladies are coming in, they're maybe not even tipping you because they just kind of like created this space for themselves and kind of made you go against the grain of like why you're doing what you're doing. Don't try to please them. Please, please, please don't try to please them. It's okay to tell them that you don't offer that service. and to do what it is that focuses on your why. An example of my studio. So I am strictly a pole studio. There is a lot of aerial arts out there, especially today. There wasn't a lot 10 years ago, but especially today, there's tons of aerial stuff. So along my journey was, you should add this, you should add this. Oh my gosh, what about this? Ooh, a new apparatus came out. These new poles and these, you know what I did? I stuck to the basics. I stuck to my why. And the only thing my business does is pole, 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 pull, pull. I stayed streamlined to that. I didn't veer. I stayed tunnel vision. I didn't, squirrel, 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 get distracted by that, because it can also be a distraction to try to please everybody. And what I found, the more I streamlined, the more I focused, the more I stayed with my tunnel vision, the more people knew exactly what my business was calling for and exactly what my business was there for. All right, number 2. Do not bend your beliefs for anyone. Bend your beliefs for no one. Okay. As I was going through hiring employees, as my business was growing so fast, at first I pretty much had no credentials because I was growing so fast. So I was like, I need people. And then I had some credentials. And then what happened is I was too nervous and too afraid to walk into the very specific and nitty gritty credentials that I wanted to have when hiring. Because if you remember step number 1, I struggled because I wanted to please everyone. So when I went through hiring employees, I was too afraid to share what it was my beliefs were for my space. I was too afraid to share what specifically my beliefs were for certain situations. And I wasn't clear. I wasn't clear about those beliefs because I was being a chameleon. So I was beliefs of this over here, beliefs of this over there, beliefs of this over here. And what happened is that everything just got super, super messy. So make sure that you don't bend your beliefs. Again, what you want to do is you want everybody to know who you are, what you're doing, and you want everything to be really clear. So let's take an example of interviewing an employee, because I was just kind of talking about this. You need to tell them what your beliefs are. So people often miss that this can be part of the hiring process. And I'm going to do another live training on hiring employees because I learned a lot about this too. But you need to share that with them. And you need to say, these are my beliefs. This is my mission statement and my vision statement of my studio. These are some things that I talk about in staff meetings. These are some things that I operate my life around and my business around. How does that make you feel when you hear me talk about what my beliefs for this space, or my beliefs for my company, or my beliefs for this group? How does that make you feel? And allow them to share, because I'm telling you what, they'll probably tell you the truth, because some people will go, oh, well, that freaks me out. And there you go. Then you automatically know it's not going to be a good fit. And that's okay. Some people will say, well, I don't believe that, but here are some examples of ways that I have really allowed space for other beliefs that, are not mine. And what beliefs don't they agree with? If they're not on board with the core values, those beliefs and values and the mission statement and the vision statement of your space and your business, it's just not going to be a good fit. Guys, I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about values and beliefs. If your values are that, you pray before every single meeting and after every single meeting. And if somebody is like, I am absolutely not going to do that, and I will absolutely not be around that, how will they be able to be at your staff meetings? If your core values are, I'll give you an example. My mission statement is, or one of our, part of our mission and vision statement is to be every woman's most loved sanctuary. And if their passion and vision is continuously pushing of why we don't have children, come along with these women and work out in the same space, if that's their vision and they just continue to not understand what my vision is, that it's, that the children don't come to the space for our classes, that will just be like a conflict of interest. You know what I mean? So maybe not the praying one, because I guess that could get a little, that could get iffy with religion. That could be a whole nother story. But So just think about those values. And this kind of brings me into number 3 is when toxicity creeps in, just do whatever it takes to shut it down immediately. If you're a business owner and you're coming into this thinking that you're never going to have to make tough decisions, you better get out right now. Because I'm telling you what, as an entrepreneur, and especially if you have employees, I've got anywhere from 25 to 35 employees at a given time. You have to make some really tough decisions. You're going to have to make the decision of, this is not going well. I've got to make a decision to make sure that it goes well. And some of those can be very difficult. These things are happening, and you have to take care of them immediately, because that saying is so true. One apple can ruin the entire bunch. It's very, very true. So make sure that, anyone that disrespects you, anyone that disrespects your staff, your business, your mission statement, they've got to go. They've got to go immediately. Obviously you're going to have your setup of warnings and stuff like that, and that's again for a whole nother discussion. That's the word I was looking for. A whole nother discussion with that. But just you've got to really think of it as your child. Being an entrepreneur and having a business, it's like having another child. And when you're thinking of these things and seeing these things happen, you would never allow your child to be in a space that was dangerous or that had a lot of toxicity without doing something about it. So you need to treat your business the same way. If you have an employee or a downline, let's just say that they are somebody that you're working with, if they have, or I guess that you're in charge of or managing, whatever. But let's say that you heard from a client that they were mocking another one of your staff members behind their back. You need to assess the situation immediately. Number one, you need to make sure that, let's take it a step further. Actually, let's take this step further. Let's say that this employee that you're in charge of, let's say they do a lot, like I'm talking like a lot. They do a lot for you. They do a lot for the business. Maybe a ton of people really like them and they don't know this side, or they don't know that this person is doing, or maybe they know this person is saying it and they're just going along with it. So this, maybe that's the situation, but this person is talking behind another one of your staff's back and you hear about it from a client. So here's the thing. You have to assess the situation, and you've got to let this person go. You've got to make the hard decision to let this employee go. In my opinion, at my business, I have zero tolerance for that. I have zero tolerance for bullying. I have zero tolerance for disrespect. I have zero tolerance for talking behind someone's back, for even being passive aggressive on social media. It is a hands down. You could be running the whole show, which they're not, because I am, but they could be running a lot, and it is zero tolerance and you're out of there. Don't host that energy in your space, because it'll multiply faster than you can even imagine and faster than you can even catch it. Okay. So just thinking about these things, let's recap. Let's go through these. You don't have to please everyone. So thinking about things I wish I would have done in my business a long time ago. I just made that up as I was on here live, just going a long time ago. I wish I wouldn't have tried to please everybody. Oh my gosh, it was so much energy. It was so much energy, you guys. I just can't even. I feel like these go for relationships too. Are you guys thinking about like relationships that you have in your life? Number 2 was, I wish I wouldn't have bended my beliefs for anybody. I did, and mostly because I was trying to please everybody. And then what happened was, number 3 is, I didn't address toxicity in my business early enough. And what happened is things multiplied very, very quickly. And when I did address it, it was way more difficult than what it could have been early on. So these 3 things, I hope you can kind of also see how they go together. So again, Don't try to please everyone. Don't bend your beliefs for anyone. And when toxicity creeps in, do whatever it takes to shut it down immediately. You're going to have to make those hard decisions. And we're going to talk about that in trainings to come. So again, while I'm thankful I learned these lessons, like I said before, they cost me a lot of money, a lot of emotional distress, and so much energy. So if I could have been prepared for these things, just known ahead of time, even to be ready, I think it just could have made such a difference. So I'm living proof that going through these and learning these lessons, while they're very difficult decisions and why they are very difficult situations, you can also get through them. So if you're also somebody that has gone through something like this, or you're going through something like this, DM me. I seriously want to talk to you, because it is the hardest thing to go through alone. And I'm telling you, we went through, when I started my business, it was so much of a guessing game and trial and error. So this tiny little piece could have made such a difference in the way that I was able to run my company early on. I didn't run my company like this for the first 7 years that I was in business. COVID hit. I ran my business up to multiple 6 figures, even while I was doing this, but it was a lot of energy. I lost everything in COVID. Post COVID, we've ramped up to, again, multiple 6 figures in business and are about to crush our goals this year. And it has been night and day, the amount of energy that it takes me to run my business now, after learning these lessons and after implementing these things, than it has before. So I'm telling you, it's such a big deal. It matters so much. If you've got any of these 3 things to focus on, write some stuff down. Make sure to stay ahead of it, and make sure to pay attention. All right, everybody. It was great chatting with you today. I will be here. If you have any questions, please DM me, please message me, please comment. Give me a 1 if you are watching this video live. Give me a 1 in the comments, and give me a 2 in the comments if you've watched this replay, and just give me a fist in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. I'll be thinking of all of you. And until next time, don't forget to grow through what you go through, and don't allow your past to define your future. We'll talk to you soon, everybody. See ya.